Building Parts Studio investigated Estonian 20th century housing projects, looked at the materials and the building methods and how the repetitional elements that are the output of the modernization became part of the space defining. So we looked at how material defines the brief and how the properties of the materiality can be inserted back into design process, so the students would have a ways of stepping away from the screen and getting back into the material world.
The studio is looking at modular architecture, but doing this from a digital design perspective. So we're looking at state-of-the-art methods of design, analysis and construction. So we're combining the expertise of architects, engineers and fabricators into one system.
So Future Architecture platform has given me a good opportunity to test some of these ideas in a completely different context, with different constraints as well, and with the students from very different backgrounds. And I think that's always something positive when you are investigating a topic that perhaps is so narrow that you need to take out of your own studio and out of your own imagination.
I hope that this sort of distinction between, at least in the discourse at universities or often in media, that there's this discourse between the digital avant-garde and the established traditional. I hope that this sort of loses a bit its friction and it becomes more normal to be a bit more experimental.
I envision an architecture that is perhaps becoming more abstract, but that is intrinsically connected to what we can do with technology that we didn't have a few years ago.
It's rather a conversation between biological materials or just digital tools which let us kind of relieve from this very strict system we live in.
My work, or what I do mostly, is still heavily centered on computation and digital methods, but at the same time there is an increasing amount of uncontrollable elements coming in, be it from biology or be it from material sciences. In this case, what we are doing is the plaster casting, which are to a degree computable, but not really, and introduce again back this materiality or physicality in the biology range.
Natu's house in Tallinn with this expressionist brick building that has a very sort of exuberant facade. There's a lot going on, but how much does it really tell us of what's going on on the inside? So it is something that could be on almost any surface, and it is quite, I think, an ambitious task in these couple of days with a group of students to try to challenge this. But I hope it's quite successful what we see, and I'm quite confident that they will get there.
I would say that those 4 models will be the outcome of a fairly fast, brief analysis of an Estonian residential area, which is also half of the topic of this workshop, I guess. So all the numbers, ratios and materials which are then later applied on these physical models we will show, which is a crazy abstraction of something physical. So all these numbers, the drivers, they are coming from an analysis of that specific physical space.
So there is next to it, the model we are referencing to is a huge scale development out of concrete that was put there around 40 years ago or something, which 40 years before that would have looked really, really strange, would look from another planet, or 50 years ago. And this monstrous amounts of concrete there, the slabs, everything is in right angles, everything is straight. There's a straight line, 400 meters of wall and flats. And so what we are doing here is okay, of course something very different, not controlled and not directly related to the building, but maybe in the same way strange as it would have been looking at the building, the model is next to it from another time. So maybe looking back on this, what we do, it will make more sense.